podcasting from sunny Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to Tips for Tour Operators, your podcast for growth hacks, marketing tips, and actionable insights from leading experts in the tourism industry.
Welcome everybody to the Tips for Tour Operators podcast. My name is Dustin Hoyman. I'm your host today, and today we're talking about something that basically every tour operator is really excited about, and that is filling seats during the weekdays, not necessarily just the weekends. And it's something that just really increases profitability, and we have a total expert on the topic. We were talking before, and he knows his stuff. We have Delamon with Tomis Tech. Delamon, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Delamon Rego. I started out in this industry actually as a raft guide. So I spent 6 years raft guiding on the Middle Fork of the Salmon River in Idaho. And then joined Zola, which is a leading reservation system, and spent 5 years there building out that company. And then joined Tomis in April as the COO. So yeah, really passionate about the industry. Been in it for about 12 years in various contexts now, and excited to talk more today.
That's very awesome. Tell us a little bit more about Tomis.
So Tomis stands for Tour Operator Marketing Intelligence Software. And what Tomis does is it aggregates and analyzes all of your data from both your marketing sources and your reservation system.
Oh, very cool.
So if you have your reservation system information, we'll aggregate that with your Google Analytics, your Google AdWords, your MailChimp, everything in one place. And then we actually analyze that and give you actionable insights for how to improve your business. We also have a marketing agency side of things. We've been in the industry, me and Evan Tipton, for a long time. So we have a marketing agency that can help you set up any of the any marketing items and help grow your business as well. Yeah,
it's really great. I've actually seen the back end dashboard, and it's incredible. If anybody needs insights into their marketing, it's really from the top to bottom on your funnel. You can see everything that's happening from SEO all the way down to bookings. I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So everyone needs to go check it out. It's Tomis, Tomis.tech.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, cool, awesome. So tell us a little bit of what we're talking about today. You know, you've got a system that you work that try to help work with hotel concierges to fill those seats. What are the steps of that?
Yeah, exactly. So the main idea is when we look at weekday bookings, they're obviously much harder to fill, but there is one thing that you can do that if you get it running well is going to be the single most powerful thing that you ever set up to drive pretty high volume into your weekdays. And it's setting up a really effective hotel concierge network. These are folks who daily see travelers who are actually capable of booking that day last minute, and they're off. So you get these people to refer customers to you, then you're solving one of your biggest problems. So for that process, we'll talk a little bit about how to create a list of hotels and who to target and who to do outreach to. We'll talk about how to close the first hotel, which is the hardest part, how to use that to close a bunch of other hotels in your area, tips and tricks for kind of speeding up this whole system and doing things a little bit more effectively, and then also how to actually send real-time availability to these various hotel concierges so that they can book, that day's distressed inventory.
Okay, that sounds great. So the first step is really like figuring out who you're targeting, right?
Exactly.
So how does somebody go about that?
So a few different ways. It can be as simple as if you're in a very small town, you might already know these people who are the hotel concierges. For most of us, we're going to be not, quite in that part of things. So instead, you're going to want to create a list of all of the applicable hotels in your area. Few ways to do this. You can look on TripAdvisor or Google Hotels. I like to do both of those. And then just go through and start creating a database, essentially, of hotel name, look up the concierge, and then phone number and email address.
Okay.
You can do this yourself, or if you have a couple hundred, then I recommend hiring like a $10 an hour high school intern. They can crank on that in a couple hours. Or you can even go offshore, use Upwork, which is a freelancing platform, and you can hire folks at $4, $5, $6 an hour to do this in overseas. Once you have that list set up, you're going to want to tailor it a little bit to your particular situation. So for instance, if you offer a high-end luxury tour, you're not going to want to have the 2-star motel on your outreach list.
Good point.
And vice versa.
Okay.
So tailor it a little bit towards the hotels that probably have a similar kind of guest as your end customer.
So basically, somebody just needs to do a little bit of research, find all of the hotels, put them in a list, like maybe a spreadsheet or something along those lines, and then really filter through and find the people that are your most applicable for your customer type. Okay, great.
And then the end goal is to have a spreadsheet with 50, 100, 200 hotels, names, email addresses, and phone numbers.
So how do you decide, who to go to first if you're going to start outreaching?
Good question. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look and see if you actually know any of these people personally. If you do, that's the best first place to start. Second thing you can do is look on LinkedIn and see if you have a friend who knows one of these people personally and get an introduction. I would absolutely recommend those before anything else. So look for the people that you have a little bit of a leg up in terms of getting in touch with them. If that doesn't work and if you strike out there, then probably start with the hotel that is most similar to your clientele.
Okay.
Because ultimately, when you're presenting this, you want to present how it can help the hotel, and they're interested in how great of an experience their guests have when they stay with them. So if you feel like your experience fits well into delighting that hotel's customer, then it's going to be a good conversation.
Oh, very cool, very cool. I like that. So basically, find somebody if you know them personally, start there. That makes sense. And then how else, what's the best way to really reach these people if you don't have those relationships built?
So if you don't have those relationships built, then you're doing what we in the software industry call a sales outreach cadence, which is a great term, but what it essentially means is you've got those emails and those phone numbers, and you want to do something like 9 or 11 touches over like a 2-week period. So you're going to be sending emails, you're going to be doing calls, and then actually visiting them in person too, which is something that works really well in any kind of client service industry. Is they're a little bit more face-to-face. That's just how these industries tend to work. Don't be discouraged if you don't hear back. You most likely won't hear back, and that's why we do these 11 touches. So over a couple weeks, you want to visit them in person at least 3 times, call them at least 3 times, email them at least 3 times. And the trick for each of these is you don't want to talk about your tour. You want to talk about what your tour can do for that hotel, and specifically for that hotel's clients. A few things that hotels are looking for, ultimately they want to delight their clients, and they're also a little bit risk averse. So if you, for instance, have a tour that is highly reviewed, that has lots of good reviews, you've got excellent guides, you've got highly trained guides, you offer some kind of unique experience that really focuses on safety and on the quality of the product itself, the experience, well, you can present that to the hotel and say, now I know that a lot of folks ask for things to do. Well, here's a great tour that combines, safety with highly trained guides, with a very high chance of an excellent outcome. And if you're recommending this tour, then your clients are going to be happy. So you want to present the case a little bit from the perspective of a hotel operator, and what they're looking for.
So less of like, hey, I'm great, and more, your tours or your customers will enjoy this tour because, and then back that up with your great reviews, your training,
Exactly.
A little social proof at that point as well.
Yep, exactly. Social proof, and also in addition to your customers will enjoy this tour because you also kind of want to say like, your concierges are going to be very safe and your hotel is going to be very safe and we're going to be good for your brand by if they recommend this tour. Yeah, you're not going to end up with a horrible experience and a bad Yelp review saying that the hotel recommended it.
Okay, yeah. And how often, how would somebody dig into actually talking about the concierge from a commission standpoint? Do you address that during this process? Do you address it, once the relationship starts to be built a bit?
Yeah, good question. So I recommend not leading with it, but including it in the first conversation. So it shouldn't be the first thing that you say, but once you've established some kind of interest on the side of whoever from the hotel you're speaking with, then you want to introduce the commission component and say, now, it also helps your concierges. It'll make your concierges really happy, and there's good commission, and people can make good money off this too. Okay,
great. Now you said that you're going to be reaching out to people, and you're probably not going to hear back right away.
Yeah.
So what is that? It sounds like it's going to be a little bit of a grind. How does someone keep focused on keeping this outreach going and making sure that they don't get discouraged? What's a tip that you would say for one of these two operators?
So really good question. And that's actually the most important part of this whole thing. Is it can feel like a gigantic boulder that you're shoving on and it doesn't move. But once that gets rolling, then it's going to go full steam downhill and it's going to be a very powerful channel. So the most important thing is to keep that in mind. It's very hard to get the first hotel. So I won't sugarcoat that. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes consistency, because ultimately you have no proof that this works, and you have no proof that folks are getting commission checks and that it is working great. You don't have a system in place.
Yeah.
So tips are to know that and to not get discouraged. And if you start with one hotel, and I recommend always starting with only focusing on one hotel.
Okay, so really focus not on the 200, but if you get that one, focus on the one.
Pick one, focus on that one hotel, start there, pull out all the stops, your emails, your calls, etc., and give it 2 weeks. Don't get discouraged. Give it 2 weeks and those 9 touches, maybe 11 touches. And then if nothing happens after those 2 weeks, move on to the next. And you might find that it might take 2-3 months of your off season of making this a part of your day. And it doesn't take that much time, but it is something that you need to keep up on to ultimately get that first hotel. And it can feel frustrating.
Yeah.
Now it's worth it, because even once you just get one hotel up and running, then they're already going to start filling those weekday bookings, and it'll make getting hotel number 2 much easier.
So unpack that a little bit. So once you have the first hotel, things are working, you've got a good relationship built, you're getting some some new bookings in. What do you mean, like the second hotel will benefit from that? What does that look like?
Yeah, so even before the second hotel, once you get the first hotel signed up, there's quite a bit of a difference between an agreement and a high volume channel that's really clicking.
Okay.
So then the next work is to turn that first hotel into a very high volume channel.
Okay.
A few ways to do that is you're going to want to baby it a little bit. I recommend even showing up and showing the concierges how to do it in person. So going to the hotel itself, showing them how to make reservations through your website using their code, and helping them out, being on hand for questions. Right, you can set up a day to do this in advance.
Sure.
And that's really valuable. Everybody will see you. You can be with a few of the different shifts of concierges, and then they'll start to make bookings themselves. Once a couple do, and just like it only takes one hotel, it only takes one concierge to really get it.
Okay.
So find the person who's like, wait, this is cool, and I can make money. And really spend a lot of time with that person, teach them how to do this, get them spinning, and then when you give your commission checks, you want to give them in cash, in hand, in person. If you do that, then the concierge that makes the most is going to get this cash in hand. Psychologically, that feels good.
Oh, yeah.
And the other concierges will see this too, and it'll start to spin up this whole system. So if you do that, then you can go from one concierge at one hotel to all the concierges at a hotel, and you get that hotel spinning pretty well. And then your next question was about getting the second hotel.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the second hotel, let's talk about the cash really quick. So instead of mailing a check or let's say a PayPal, you recommend putting cash in like an envelope and just actually handing them, possibly hundreds of dollars in dollar bills.
In dollar bills. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny, it sounds silly, but if you get a PayPal in your email and it says $332, you're like, okay. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But if you get $332 cash in hand and you can feel it and touch it, it's just such a psychological trigger, and suddenly your referral network becomes much more important to this individual concierge.
Okay. Yeah, that's really important. That's such a cool tip. So would you recommend actually bringing out those concierges on your tour, letting
Definitely.
them take, experience everything from that standpoint?
Yeah, ultimately they're going to be your salespeople.
Okay.
So they're going to want to know your tour inside and out. I recommend giving them a free tour, and you can also use that as part of the sales process as well.
Okay, great. And would that be a good time to really talk about, it's almost like a coaching or training session on how to sell your tour. Would that be a good time to do that, or would you do that separately from the tour itself?
Yeah, definitely. So I would recommend focusing, when you bring them out on your experience, on having them have the most fun possible, because that's going to ultimately be the best sale, is if they have that passion and they like it and they can talk about it. So I certainly wouldn't turn that into like a big long lesson, but afterwards what I would do is, after the experience, then you can start to bring in some of these tips and give them a few pointers on how to sell it, and what customers like to hear, and on who it's for, what kind of demographic does your tour, things like that.
Okay, so when they're on the tour, just make sure that they're having a blast.
Yep,
don't convert them into a salesperson, convert them into a loyal follower of your tour.
Exactly.
Okay.
You want to make their passion infectious.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good tip right there. So now let's talk about, you've got the first hotel, things are clicking along. How do you get the other ones from that standpoint?
Yeah, so it's going to be much easier. If you've got one hotel, and if it's really doing a good job and you've got multiple concierges driving good volume, then that's actually quite a beautiful thing for a few reasons. Reason number one is that you can actually use that data and you can pull out a report and say, here's all the commission that all of the concierges at this hotel made last week, and then you can present that to hotel number two. And you can do it again the next week, and the next week, and the next week. And it's a heck of a lot easier to get a hotel interested if you can show them a report of people making real money, weekly, monthly, and if you can do this week after week. So that's makes powerful, the conversation way faster. And then, of course, if you have 2 hotels, then you can show the data from 2 hotels. And 3 hotels, you can show the data from 3 hotels. The other reason that it's so important to get the first hotel clicking is just the way the concierge industry works. Concierges tend to be short-lived, and there tends to be high turnover within hotels. So if you get every single person or every single concierge in a hotel kind of referring your trips or your experiences as part of their day-to-day just life and operations, well, once turnover happens, it's not going to die at the original hotel. You'll still have people who are doing this, so you don't chance having a couple people leave and then your first hotel kind of evaporating. And second, all these people who are used to this, they don't turn over and disappear. They usually go to other hotels. And then they can be your little spark that can turn into a big fire of another concierge network. So yeah, it's a little bit like sprouting seeds.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. There is a lot of that turnover. People probably hop from hotel to hotel, or if they start at, let's say, a 3-star hotel and they want to get to that 5, they might take certain steps to get there. And so once they do become infectious, what would you call them? Like infectious believers in
the infectious believers in your tour, and in the ability to collect money for referring it. While also delighting their customers.
Okay. So once they have that and they really trust you as making sure that people have great experiences, they're going to take that with them regardless of where they go from the hotels.
Exactly.
Okay.
And one advantage too is that what tends to happen is you have a concierge who's just a normal concierge at one hotel. Part of the turnover is they might join another hotel as concierge manager. So then suddenly they're not only at a new hotel, they're in a position of power to implement this system.
Implement the other,
Exactly.
So now they're a seed that actually blooms out. Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's a really good tip right there. So one of the things we talked about too is basically working. So once you have your network figured out, announcing your availability. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So this can just help really drive things a little bit better. So you have your one hotel working really well, and then what you can actually start doing, and we recommend starting to do this early, is just send an availability report every morning. So every morning at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., something like that, send a report of your availability for that day or for that week. It's really nice because on weekdays, who books a last-minute weekday booking? Nobody. Other than people who wake up that morning at the hotel and they're like, what should we do today? And if the concierge has a report of exactly which tours have exactly how much availability at exactly what time for your offerings, well, then they can just present that. It's really easy, and then they can make the booking. So it's a fantastic way to inject last-minute dollars into your weakest time slots.
Yeah, I really like that. So if you're a tour and let's say you just have a really open week, how would you reduce your price in these when you blast out your availability? Could you do anything to help stoke that a little bit more with any special offers or anything along those?
So it's a good question. So I think that the number one thing to focus on is the baseline, because ideally if you get this up and running and you have dozens of hotels referring customers to you daily, then you probably won't have a weekday bookings problem until you expand your tour. So I would say the most important is to focus on the baseline. Now, if you do find that you have one day or 1 week, for whatever reason, you have a huge amount of distress inventory and lack of bookings, then sure, if you have good relationships with your concierges, reach out and say, hey, there's, I'm struggling with bookings this week. And you can either increase the commission on the concierge side for bookings that week with a flash commission increase, or you can let them know that there's a discount too for any guests just that week. The other nice thing about that is one problem with discounting is that you can train your list that you discount. These people aren't on your list. Right? So any kind of hotel guest, they won't know any better, and they're not going to tell anybody else because they're in from out of town just for that day, and they see a discount, they'll be like, okay, great, and it won't really affect you long term.
Okay. I actually like the idea of, instead of discounting, like for you from a tour, if you discount, you're going to get less money, right? But if you increase your commissions, you're still going to be in the same spot, right? But your concierge, your salesperson, gets rewarded for that. I didn't think about that. That's a good,
Yeah,
or possibly a good thing to do.
Is, let's say that you are giving away 20% total of the tour price, and you're giving away 10% commission and 10% discount to the hotel guest, which is another good way to sell the hotels, is say, yeah, we'll give you a little bit of discount, and you can add value to your customers. You can feel good being with your hotel because they're getting a discount for activities. You can change that amount and ratchet one up or the other up. So you can increase commission, decrease discount, decrease commission. And that's good for different situations.
Okay.
So you can play around with it, see what works for you, and then for different times of the year, you might want to increase one or the other a little bit.
Oh, that's really great. So, to recap everything, we're building a list. We are setting up a system to be able to reach out to these people through phone calls, emails, in person, right? I think the key word that you said there was like a system where you're keeping track and you're pushing and you're pushing uphill, you're pushing that boulder, and then really focus on that first one. Build that relationship, make sure that it works, make them high value to you, and while that's building out, you can go then to number 2 through 12. Proof in the pudding, and as you build that, you're actually changing how you're outreaching because you've got people. Is that right there?
Yep.
Because now you've got people you're working with, and you can say, this is what we're doing over here. This is what you can get here, and now you've got some data to say this is really working. And then you're really focusing on, what was the next step after that? Really focusing on personal touches, getting the cash to do that. That's part of it as well.
Yep, exactly. So you want to show up in person at
Okay.
those hotels,
Yeah.
Weekly or every other week, either you or somebody who works for you.
Okay, and so you want to show up there personally, and then every day or every week blast out your availability. I'm assuming that's an email that you send out to everybody?
Yep, exactly. So
Okay.
that would be via email format, and you could do that every single morning at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. And there's also ways to automate that too.
Okay.
If you want to talk further on that.
Let's say Zola, you came from Zola, do they have the ability to do that?
So Zola doesn't have the ability to automate it directly yet. Tomis integrates and does that.
Okay.
So we can do that on our end. And it just makes things a little bit easier.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Great. Is there anything else involving that whole process of setting up this network of concierges?
So those are the big steps. The most important one to remember, which really I just can't stress enough, is you're probably going to be shocked at how hard it is to get the first one really up and running and running smoothly. You're going to be equally shocked at how easy it is to go from number 1 to number 12 in terms of your hotels that are actually really, really piping this. And once you do, the return is just enormous because you're going to have a huge new booking channel. We see some people getting 50% of their bookings through this channel.
Oh, wow.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And it takes time and effort to get there, and that's what makes a really successful tour company, because suddenly you no longer have a booking graph that spikes on weekends and then plummets out of the sky on weekdays. You're going to lift those weekdays. You're going to fill your tours all week long, and your margins are going to be really pretty astronomically better.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. And this is something that I think that it is more of a mental hurdle than a time hurdle. It probably doesn't take too much time.
Exactly.
Just take a day out of your week when you're slow. You don't have a whole lot to visit people, and then after that, maybe another day calling people and setting up some emails. Probably doesn't take a whole lot of time. It's more of a mental hurdle in that beginning.
It is, yeah. It doesn't, and not even a full day. I mean, with 30 minutes, you can send some emails and do some phone calls, and then for in-person visits, maybe, depending on what your city's like, maybe a couple hours. And you're right, it doesn't take that much time. What it does take is consistency.
Okay.
So if you devote yourself 3 hours a week for 6 months to this, I guarantee you that you're going to have at least one hotel up and running with really phenomenal volume. That's going to be a key lever for year 2 and 3 to go from 1 to 50.
Oh, that's great. That's such a great tip, and it's something that I hear a lot of tour operators weekdays are such a pain, and this is a solution to that. So I hope that helps. And you heard it, Tomis has a solution to help automate that blasting of the availability. I think that's really cool. I didn't even know that you guys did that. I think that's just a time saver right there. Any parting words before we part?
Yes, so we also do the outreach component too. And we help with that. But yeah, I really recommend it. If you haven't done it yet, it's probably the single thing that you can do to not increase your business by 10%, but by 100%.
By 100%.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. So also, I forgot to say at the beginning, but Delamon did a workshop here at Arrival. We're at Arrival right now, and he crushed it. He had one of the highest rated workshops so far this year, which is really great. And so everyone go visit Tomis Tech. It's TOMIS.TECH, and check them out. It's amazing. If you need help with marketing, they can help with that. They definitely help with the metrics if you wanted to kind of manage that yourself. So check them out. What's the best way, if somebody want to reach out to you directly, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Yes, so best is email,
Okay.
Delamon, that's DELAMON, at Tomis, TOMIS.tech.
That's great. That's great. Go ahead and email him. And if you've got any questions, I'll link below. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dustin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
it was fun.
Thanks. Cheers. Bye, guys.
Bye.